All right, flippin' Rampage Jackson has an emotional meltdown on Instagram. It's your boy Dway's on Blaze. You know the name, time, face, place, all that. And today we're getting into, why Rampage Jackson is out here crying, breaking down, clearly over his son and what his son did. I think it was last weekend or the weekend previous. And yeah, let's get into it. I hate the fact that you can't scroll down on YouTube anymore. But anyway, this video is by ITP MMA Live. Let's get into a like, comment, and subscribe.
This man who attempted to maim another man is walking around free right now.
And is getting rewarded by getting a booking.
Yeah.
That's absolutely insane to me.
I don't think you'll make it to the booking. I talked to a detective friend of mine, and he told me the process of everything and how bad they drag their feet. He said, especially LAPD.
Mm-hmm.
But he's saying that because of all the evidence, the state's going to pick it up.
What is on this guy's head? What is on this guy's head? I can't for some reason make out what is on his head, but it's so distracting. Like, what is this red thing? Is that his hair? What is that?
I've already talked to a detective who's on the case, so it's not like he's not going to jail.
What the fuck is that?
Okay.
But he's just not there yet.
All right, so I know that I've been a little inconsistent with my upload schedule lately, but I promise that I am locking in for the remainder of the year. Anyways, I don't consider myself an optimist, nor do I consider myself a pessimist. What I do consider myself, however, is a realist, and at this point, I am feeling pretty confident that Raj is actually going to face the consequences of his actions now that this case has been escalated to California state authorities. And you don't have to tell—
Guys, ASAP Rocky didn't go to jail for shooting a man live in 4K, bruh. Live in 4K, and this is in LA courts. I don't trust LA courts, bruh. I think Raja is not going to jail, bruh. Community service, maybe. Slap on the wrist. Light slap on the wrist.
Tell me about California's sketchy legal system. I lived there for the first 26 years of my life. I have seen firsthand how ass backwards that state can be. But given how widespread this incident has become, I do get the feeling they're going to pursue legal action against him. However, the focus of this video is that just a couple of hours ago, Rampage himself just had a bit of—
said my son is not as smart as I'd like him to be. Yo, there's another element to this in which, why does Rampage keep like not trauma dumping, but he keeps like, I don't know, throwing his son under the bus, like calling him stupid. I remember there was a time he was saying his son is going to end up in jail because he's from the hood or something. Like, I don't know, bro. It just feels like Rampage just negatively impacts the mindset of Raja. Like, he just seems like he's always weighing in on him and always joking on him and clowning him. And I feel like this has a part to play in Raja snapping, bro, honestly.
Meltdown on Instagram where he went on a long rant about everything, which seriously contradicts some of the previous apologies he's made throughout the past week. He even straight up lies about a couple key details about the situation to the point where it feels pretty gross. A lot has been made about the excuses and deflections Rampage has been doing lately, but aside from that, there's been some pretty positive updates about all of this, and yeah, in this video, I'm going to be talking about all this and more. So right off the bat, just yesterday, Syko Stu was released from the hospital, which is great. His wife posted to his Instagram on his behalf where you can clearly see in the photo that Stu is missing some teeth on one side of his face. In the caption, she details the extent of his injuries, but ultimately keeps things positive by thanking people for the overwhelming support while he was in the hospital. No mention at all of Raja or Rampage though, but I'm assuming they've been told to not speak on the attack while the case is still being investigated. Regardless, this was a classy statement from Stu's wife, and even though she says that he has a long road to recovery, I'm glad that he can at least do it from the comfort of his home. On the other hand, someone who has not been carrying themselves with really any grace at all has been Rampage Jackson, because
Rampage been going on dates, bowling dates, streaming dates with Neon. Like, Rampage is doing everything else but just being there for his son. He keeps saying, there's nothing I can do for him, there's what. Bro, you can be there for him. You can be out of the public so you can stop. Like, every time Rampage does something, stream says something, I feel like he's bringing this thing back to light. More people are weighing in on it. So I just feel like it's not making the situation any better.
Just about an hour ago from the time I'm writing this, he took to Instagram and wrote a long-ass caption where you kind of get the vibe that he's having a Monday morning meltdown. I mean, even from the very first sentence, he's calling people that are angry at his son low IQ for falling for clickbait. Dog, there's nothing clickbait about this. Your son nearly killed a guy. At least he has some semblance of self-awareness and agrees that Raja took it too far and calls him a piece of shit for what he did. But in the very next breath, he then points the finger back at Stu by accusing him of being a drunk and saying that this is all his fault for hitting Raja with a real beer can, which from everything that I've been hearing from the wrestlers who were present, this is just not true. You can clearly see the water vapor from the prop can come out when Stu hits Raja, which really wouldn't be what would happen if it was a real can with—
That is true. Like, if he hit, even the way he hit him, the can would not explode like that. Like, if it was a real can, it would just dent your head. It wouldn't just burst. So I do think that's a prop can.
Beer in it. Regardless, I have said from the very first video that I made on this topic that Stu should not have done what he did, whether the cam was real or not. I also do agree with Rampage that if it weren't for this misunderstanding, then KnockX Pro wouldn't have felt the need to incorporate Raja into the show, but they shouldn't have brought him into the ring regardless. It was too much of a liability. Then Rampage says that Raja should have just gone to the police immediately, and then says that his son is not as smart as I'd like for him to be, which, hey, he's right about that. He goes on to say that he and his family are receiving racist threats because of the misinformation being posted so content creators can get paid from viewers. But what misinformation is he talking about? Everything is on video.
Bro, we just talk about what we see, bro. What do you mean misinformation? We saw it all live in 4K, my brother. It's all there. What do you mean? Dog.
We have all seen what happened from start to finish. And in regards to his next point where he says that people actually think Raja snuck into the ring without any permission, I haven't seen a single soul make that claim throughout the hundreds of opinions I've read on the story so far. Nobody is saying that he randomly stormed into the ring. The fact that this was an agreed upon stunt which then unexpectedly resulted in Raja nearly murdering Stu is the fundamental thesis of the situation. We have eyes, we have ears, we literally see Stu and Raja agree to stage the event. No one is mad at Raja for getting into the ring. We are mad at Raja for the 22 punches that he threw at an unconscious body, telling us to get smart. How about you get smart? Now, this next part is interesting because not only does Rampage double down on the claim that Stu was drunk when all of this went down, but according to witnesses, he also claims that this is not the first time that Stu has done something dumb backstage with a fan, whatever that means. Listen, I'm not going to blindly defend Stu because who knows, he might have been drunk when he hit Raja and it might—
Okay, look. Even if Stu was drunk, I feel like they squashed it behind stage though. People apologized. Stu apologized. They said it was a misunderstanding. So I can't really go off that saying that, yeah, no, you know what, even if he was drunk and what, he deserved that. Nah, he did not deserve that, because at the end of the day, he realized these actions before they got there. They squashed the beef before they even got to the ring. It was the chat that was hyping Raja up to do all this nonsense, bro. Let's be serious. It was the chat, and it was him. It was his dad. His dad is also part to blame in this, because his dad just said to him before, I heard you got beat up by some men in tights. That's what his dad said, bro. Obviously, now you're going to prove a point to your dad and be like, oh, let me show this nigga. He think I got beat up by some dudes in ties. All right, let me show him.
Be true that Stu's done stupid stuff like this in the past. Who can really say? But I will say that I think it's interesting that Rampage is only pulling these cards now more than a week after all of this went down. And I will also say that I think it's very interesting how he's changing his tune on Syko Stu just a couple of days after he said this on live stream.
Hopefully one day I can meet Syko Stu and shake his hand and have a man-to-man with him and stuff like that, but who knows? But y'all, the people that know me, y'all know I got mad love for everybody.
So what is it? Do you want to shake Stu's hand and have a man-to-man with him, or is he a belligerent drunk that has a history of inappropriate behavior with fans? Don't get me wrong, Rampage can feel sorry for the actions of his son while also calling Stu's character into question, but his statements feel pretty contradictory. Either take the high road or don't, because bouncing back and forth makes me feel like he's saying whatever he can to deflect the blame off of Raja, and as a result, I'm questioning how sincere anything he's saying actually is. Okay, let's get back to the temper tantrum. Here's Rampage saying that it's unfair of people to think that Raja knew of Stu being a military vet and for whatever reason singled him out because of this. Not gonna lie, at least on this specific aspect of the story, I actually agree with Rampage here. The fact that Stu is a veteran who suffers from PTSD adds another layer to the story, and it does make it look worse for sure, but it's not like Raja knowingly targeted Stu because of his background. But in the very same sentence, Rampage goes right back to being a delusional idiot by saying that Stu came up from behind Raja and hit him, which is so far from the truth it's insane. Like, does he not realize that this was all captured on video? Because how the fuck is this Stu coming up from behind? This next part is fucking rich, because immediately after defending Raja by saying he didn't know Stu was a war veteran, Rampage then calls out Stu for hitting Raja the day after he got a concussion from sparring. Is anybody else seeing the issue here? Rampage, buddy, Stu didn't know that Raja had a concussion. I understand that Rampage is trying to defend his son while also trying to paint Stu as a questionable guy, but you can't pretend like he's supposed to know what happened to Raja during his sparring rounds. Like, what the fuck? And then Rampage ends his caption by having another tough guy moment. I do agree with him when he says that people should keep their hands to themselves, though. Yeah, man, there's so many contradictory, misleading, or just outright deceitful parts of Rampage's post that kind of fall apart immediately if you've seen the full sequence of events. Like, he says that Raja should have just called the cops, but then he says that Stu was lucky that Rampage wasn't there, implying he also would have gotten violent. It's weird. The entire tone of the caption comes off as pretty aggressive as well, which I really don't think is the best way to go about it, considering there's still an ongoing investigation. Like, he has to know that the detectives or prosecutors looking into this case are going to see this, but then again, Rampage has never really shown much of an ability to think things through. Somebody commented on his post saying that Raja should go to prison, and Rampage responded with facts, so I'm really not even sure.
Bro said facts. Bro said facts.
What the purpose of this caption was for, other than to farm clicks and impressions, which is something that Rampage criticized other content creators for in this very caption. On that note, I think it's pretty hilarious how Rampage is talking down to people who make content for money when he literally makes most of his income these days through making content for money. He has a big podcast along with a Kick live stream. The guy's a bigger content creator than like 98% of people on the internet. This is the same guy that apologized to Kick the very same night that Raja attacked Stu. He is for sure trying to protect his bag. Oh, these content creators are trying to milk the situation to make money. Anyways, let me just go live less than 48 hours.
Protect his bag. Rampage didn't do anything. Rampage didn't do shit, bruh. Nothing's gonna happen to Rampage, but Raja, that's another story.
After the incident and pulled the biggest numbers that my stream has ever done. You cannot tell me that this guy didn't know exactly what he was doing when he went live so soon after his son attacked Stu. And hey, I get it, never let a good controversy go to waste. But don't put up this front that you hate how content creators are benefiting off of your son being a lunatic when you're doing the exact same thing. Even going back to the apology on his live stream, I think he said all the right things, but the fact that he did it live from a bowling alley with a bunch of random girls around him kind of makes the whole thing feel hollow.
I'm on stream.
I was up top 5. What's up, homie?
Your son is a monster. What
Yeah.
I feel like the streaming world is mixing the randomest people together. Neon, Rampage Jackson, and Top 5, bruh. All in a call together. What the fuck is that? What type of trio is that, bro?
Hey, watch your mouth. Watch your mouth, bro. Watch your mouth. Chill.
Yo, Rampage, you're a monster.
Wait.
I'll knock you out, Rampage.
What the fuck?
No,
Who the fuck is this motherfucker?
Nah, top 5, y'all. Come on, bro. I'm hanging up.
Yo, Top 5 is jokes, though. He's like, I'll knock you out. Yo, Top 5 is such an idiot, bro.
Who the fuck is that motherfucker right now?
L top 5, bro.
Who the fuck is
Why is he talking?
Who is Rampage? He's like a
Come on, bro.
tonight and girls.
Hey, respectfully, shut the fuck up. I'm a dad. Respectfully, shut the fuck up. I'm getting a lot of racist threats and shit, nigga. Motherfucker talking about killing me and my whole family, nigga. Drop the shit.
I always knew that Rampage liked to pretend to be a clown, but I really never expected him to pretend to be a victim, because the irony of him saying that he doesn't care that people call him names or that he doesn't care what people think of him, only to write an essay on Instagram, speaks to how much the insults actually do get to him. And to be fair to Rampage, I do not blame him for the actions of his son, because I think Lucas Tracy said it best in that regardless of how good or bad your parents are, you either have the ability to know right from wrong or you don't.
And also the parenting shit. There's a lot of people with bad parents. There's a lot of people with terrible upbringings that don't do shit like this. There's a lot of people with horrific upbringings, terrible upbringings, parents that are horrible in many different ways that don't do shit like this. And what
well, there are also people with great, lovely parents who also do shit like this. So what are you really saying, sir?
I'm getting at is I think some people are just destined to have the lack of an ability to control their emotions and impulses. I think that there's something that you either have it or you don't.
Given from the clips that I've seen, Rampage is kind of a dick to Raja, but that's still no excuse for what he did. And after reading Rampage's caption, it's times like these where I think the best advice to give someone is sometimes it's best to shut the fuck up and not say anything, because you're only making it worse for you and those around you. There is absolutely no reason for Rampage to have even posted this, and the factual inaccuracies make it so much worse. And I don't know if this was supposed to be damage control or just a bizarre way to stay in the headlines, but I think a post like this does much more harm than good for both him and Raja. Anyways, that is the video for today. Definitely let me know what you think about Rampage's post. What do you think was even the purpose of him making this? As always, if you like the video, then like the video, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do so.
Rampage flippin' Jackson, man. Control your son. Get a hold of yourself. Actually, control yourself, sir. Like, I feel like there's more press or more smoke around Rampage than Raja, bro. Raja's quiet. I haven't really heard from Raja, to be honest. At least I haven't seen anything of him going viral after that. Whereas Rampage, every day, he's fighting with someone, he's calling other people racist or saying that they're racist. He's going back and forth on Syko. 1 minute he likes Syko's too, then he doesn't like Syko's too. This man's just going through it. He just needs to stop streaming for some time, bro. Figure out the situation first. Figure out everything. I feel like that's what should have been done. They should have took a step back, figured out what's going on, gone through the right legal procedure to make sure that, you know, they understand where they're at with it. Wait for Syko to recover, speak to him. I think all these things should have been done first before he just comes on live and starts flipping, getting angry at people for asking. And it's weird, bro. It's weird, but it is what it is. But shout out, man. Shout out to, I don't know who I'm saying shout out to. I'm just shouting out anybody. But yeah, shout out to whoever needs a shout out there. Shout out to you, man. It's your boy Dwayne on Blaze. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'll catch you in the next one. And shout out, man, for hitting the 2K subscribers. I want to thank y'all, man. Appreciate y'all, dog. Like, I didn't even really like deep it at first because I was like, it's 2K. But at the end of the day, I realized how hard it was to get to 2K subscribers, bro. It's taken years. So at the end of the day, I have to be grateful and thankful. Hey, man, 2K is not 20K, but at the end of the day, it's something. You know what I'm saying? All right, bro. Catch y'all in the next one. Stay blessed. Stay safe. Love y'all, man. And, yeah, live life to the fullest.